Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our first Deaf Divine Nine event. So while we're waiting, if you could, please drop your name and your school or your occupation. And if you're a member of a Divine Nine organization, please put that in the chat as well. We do want to get to know you guys a little bit and see where everybody is coming from. All right, so a little bit of welcome and housekeeping. So the purpose of this meeting is to really dive into the experience of the intersectionality between being a part of the deaf community and also being in a Divine Nine organization. After doing a lot of research, I realized that their experiences are overlooked, but they do contribute a lot to these important historically Black organizations. So this panel is going to highlight the perspectives of deaf, hard of hearing, interpreters, and they're all D9 members within their journeys in Black Greek life. So just a little bit of housekeeping. We do have interpreters and captioning present. The interpreters have ASL interpreter next to their names, so you'll be able to find them. And for the captioning, you have to turn those on with Zoom yourself. So if you go to the bottom, like the little control manual on your Zoom, it should have a captions button, and you're gonna turn on captions there. If you need any help with that, we do have Zoom moderators, and their names on Zoom is Zoom moderator. So you'll be able to find them and send them a chat just in case you need help. For Zoom etiquette, we ask that you remain muted while the panelists are giving their experiences, and keep your cameras off. I know that I sent the email earlier saying keep your cameras on, but we had just a slight change. So just keep your cameras off while they are giving their experiences until the Q&A portion if you do want to ask a question or just introduce yourself. And then lastly, let's save the questions for the Q&A. So that's just a reminder just to keep your voices off and save your questions for the Q&A portion. And here's our agenda. So we're going to introduce our panelists next. We're going to have a little bit of a guided discussion, a question and answer, and then we're going to have a closing and final remarks along with some ASL updates. And we do value everyone's responses, but we want to make sure that everybody is keeping their responses concise, just to allow time for everybody to share their experiences and ask their questions. All right, now to introduce our moderators. So I'll go first. Hi, everyone. My name is Jemiah King. I am the Vice President of the Spelman ASL Club. I'm also a senior education studies major from Lawrenceville, Georgia. And I'm also a proud member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, and I am fall 2023.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tamar Lucas. I am an ASL intern. I am a junior biology major from St. Louis, Missouri.
All right, and now we're going to have our panelist introductions.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Okay.
Hello, beautiful people. I am Tempest Cooper. This is my sign name. And I am deaf. I am a member of the pretty Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. I crossed fall, and I am from Raleigh, North Carolina. but my dad is Jamaican. Yes, 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 got the representation. Also, I just want to inform you all this month is Women's Empowerment. So shout out to all you beautiful queens all around the world. You are strong. This is our month, right? Also, where are my social workers? Where they at? Where they at? Where they at? I am also a social worker, so you know this social worker month as well, and I am really honored to be a part of this beautiful panel, and I can't wait to hear you all, and I'm just excited to be here. Love you all.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aaron Loggins. Hi, I'm Aaron Loggins. He's trying to get the interpreter person.
Hello, my name is Aaron Logging. I'm the Five Beta Stigma Percent Incorporated, 0.07, Dolo Ace from Chicago, Illinois. Glad I'm a Gallaudet, major in theater art. So I'm glad to be here with y'all tonight. Blue Fire, you know.
Hello? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Kristen Allen. I'm a proud member of the Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. I'm a charter member of Nu Sigma Sigma in San Marcos, Texas. I'm from Frederick, Maryland, and I'm a Gallaudet alum, class of '04.
Hey, uh, I'm excited to be here with you guys. My name is Fashad Afolabi, and I'm a proud member of Alpha Phi, excuse me, Alpha Phi Alpha, and I'm happy to be here with you guys. I'm from New Jersey. I graduated from with a degree in business management. I've got my master's of public administration as well. And I've been working at Gallaudet as a university resident manager for a few years now, and I'm proud to be here.
Hello, I am Christy Merriweather, and I am a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I joined at my university at Spelman College. Spelman College, here we go, in 1994, meaning last year I celebrated our 30th anniversary of our line. So I am just honored to be a part of this panel. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hello. I am Tiara Carter. This is my sign name. I am a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And I went to undergraduate at North Carolina A&T University. And I became a member of the fall 2018 line. Also, I graduated from Gallaudet University. That is where I received my master's in ASL interpreting. I graduated in May of 2021, so I am just happy to be here. Hello, my sorors.
Well, they saved the best for last. Hello, everyone. First, I want to thank uh, my sister college, Spelman. I'm a proud graduate of Morehouse. So, one fun fact. I was Mr. Spelman, excuse me, for Mr. Morehouse for 2013, and my name is Chris Jackson. Sorry for the delay. Interpreter's trying to catch up here. My name is Chris Jackson. This is my sign name. It's a C on the cheek. I'm a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. I'm proud to be here. The best fraternity.
All right. So now we're going to get into our guided discussion. We have discussion questions for each panelist. We ask that for each discussion question, we only have one sorority and one fraternity respond. So you will only hear from some voices for the discussion questions. Our first discussion question is, what motivated you to join a Divine Nine organization? And how did your experiences as a deaf or hard of hearing individual influence that decision?
Bashad, would you like to start?
Sure, I'll go first. That's fine. Again, hi, my name is Rashad. Well, I wanted to join the Alphas. I think the first time when I went to college was RIT, which is Rochester Institute for Technology. And I went to one of the events that they were hosting on campus. It was a deaf party. And I just happened to see uh, two brothers from this particular fraternity doing step, a little step show. So one of them was deaf and the other guy was not deaf. And man, the way they were moving, it had me captivated. I had no idea what, Greek organizations were at that time. So when they were done, I made it my point to go up to them and introduce myself. Um, Mind you, both of them knew sign language. The deaf person and the person who could hear both knew sign language. So we introduced ourselves to each other. They explained about the fraternity. Um, and they mentioned that I had to do some research and figure out whether it's something I wanted to do. I was really impressed because they had a deaf member. He said that he was the first deaf member in the fraternity at our university. Um, and so that just really captivated me. So I was so excited to meet the other guys. Um, all the Line brothers knew sign language, and that really shocked me as well. And it kind of made me feel like this is something I can do. So I researched the history of the organization, and I was extremely captivated. So I was like, what is this organization? Like, how do they function? And they have an extremely rich history. of serving the community and being helpful to the people. So I went to another party and they actually invited me. Um, it was just an amazing community to see everybody doing sign language. You know, I was drawn in immediately. And so they decided to sit down with me, explain a little bit more about what brotherhood was, about community doing community service, and you know, how I explained to them how that had impacted me. And so they explained to me that there were other Greek organizations as well. And so I did my research and I was like, I think this is the one for me. So uh yeah, I was just it's just an amazing experience, extremely rich. The amount of socializing interaction that I had with my brothers was amazing. So years later, I left, but I still remember those experiences from university when I first joined. Um, and I crossed in 2011 in the fall. No, in the spring of 2011. But really, the thing that impacted me was that um, the person who was, it was a really deaf organization in New Jersey. Um, and so for me, my experience as you know, in the fraternity, I just felt like I had to take it all in. Like as a deaf Black man, this felt like going anywhere else would be a challenge for me. And this was a challenge too, but it was a super great experience. And I'm so proud to be a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. And yeah, I'm just thrilled to be here. Really, it changed my life. If I'm 100% honest with you, who I am today, those guys taught me. They're my big brothers and my little brothers, and they're mentors and mentees, and all the different opportunities for service that I have had to experience. The deaf people who I've met, it's crazy. And so one of the best um, opportunities that I've had was meeting those guys at that college party that day.
Fashad mentioned like being equally yoked. I mean, it was a natural fit for me. This is Chrissy. Growing up here in Atlanta, Atlanta is strong with Black Greek letter organizations. We are seeing it everywhere. And so my educational experience was elementary, public, middle, high school. It was all mainstream experience. It's more like immersive, but I was the only deaf individual in the whole group. I noticed that, my school was mixed with different people, Black, white, was very diverse, but but I had Black teachers who were members of Black Greek letter organizations. But typically, I really preferred my favorite teacher, and she was a member of Delta Sigma Theta. I remember my senior year. I mean, I'm talking about one of my favorite educators. No, I noticed that she was a member of Delta. And so I asked her, how do you join? And she said, I'm not telling you. Oh, really? Okay. Well, my personality is if you tell me no, then that makes me even more motivated. And so I entered into Spelman College and I noticed that Delta and AKAs, they were running the yard, they were running the campus. And so when I attended in the 90s, Delta Sigma Gamma Rho and Zeta Phi Beta, they weren't present there at the campus until my, I want to say, junior and senior year. One or two were available, but who was the top of the yard? It was AKAs and Deltas. Now, why I didn't have a interest in AKA when I first attended, they invited, local seniors who had good standing, good GPA, who were involved in things of the community. they were kind of having like an exposure meeting. And I mean, it was well known. It really wasn't for me. And so from then on, my focus was DST. Interesting enough, when I attended Spelman at that year in 1990, I found out they have some deaf sorors. So Atlanta Black Deaf Advocates, the president was a member of Delta Sigma Theta, and I believed her name was Pamela Jackson. And so I believe that she was the first deaf Delta Sigma Theta member. I think she attended FAMU during the 70s. Once she completed there, she went to Gallaudet, graduated, and then she went to, if I'm not mistaken, Meharry Medical School, and she graduated with a dental degree. I believe she was the first Black deaf woman to get some kind of medical degree. And she was a member of Delta Sigma Theta. And so the woman who was when I was running for Miss Black Deaf America, I was a representative of Atlanta. She was also a member of Delta Sigma Theta. And other deaf deltas are here in Atlanta. And so those three they happened to be the people that I looked up to as role models. And so during my time at Spelman, Gallaudet set up a chapter. And so I was really excited about that because that meant there was more deaf sorors, you know? And so to answer the question, the reason what motivated me, it was a natural fit for my personality. I mean, it was strong leadership. I have a strong leadership personality, and Delta Sigma Theta tends to exemplify that. The location, we had a lot of exposure. And so, yeah, that's the reason.
Hey, thank you. All right. Oh, turn down. Okay, for our second question, in what ways has your organization supported you as a deaf or hard of hearing member, and what challenges have you faced?
Can you hear me? This is Crystal. I can see myself. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So hi, my name is Crystal Allen. I joined fall 2020 with Mu Beta Sigma. I'm now charter member of New Sigma Sigma. So when I joined, it was fall 2020. You know, our centennial was the summer of 22. And I made sure when I registered to go that they asked for the Google form for if you need deaf services. I said, sure. Then they connected me with Soror Trimble Smith, Denise Trimble Smith out of Arizona. And I found out that my sorority had a sign language team. And when I got to Indiana, I met up with them, the other interpreters, let me know that, you know, we're here for you. Just let us know what the schedule, what you want to do. I felt like VIP because when I went to the front row, they sat with me. You know, being deaf had this benefit. So I had front row seating. I had an interpreter for the whole table. I think I went at the table, but that's fine. Met other, you know, sorors that knew some sign language because we was in the hallway in the middle of the conference signing. I've never seen that before. So, you know, that experience was wonderful. They make sure, even for my chapter meetings, we have closed captions. We have, if I need to know what's happening, they'll let me know. The only negative about closed caption, it doesn't always work because the voice and the caption don't always connect. But it's it's good. I don't feel like I'm alone with getting help for the sorority for meeting for certain events. If I go to an event and ask for an interpreter, I will have it. I think that's my experience. Only, yeah, I think that's my experience. Aaron?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Aaron Logan. And Logan, phew, tomorrow my 18 year anniversary for the Phi Beta Stigma. 18 years, a long time. So I met with my dean back in 2005 while playing football. He was assistant coach, and the following year, we going through the process in 2006 and all that. So Woody was with two brothers from the Gallaudet, but supposed to be two brothers from the Gallaudet, but unfortunately, the other person not ready because of the personal reason. So I have to take the risk to become the solo ace at the undergrad student. So through the process is really, really challenging because being deaf to communication, I use both sign and communication when I speak my information. Because like I said, the dean and my ADP and my line brother, they really, really fascinated. They never seen the brothers who can sign and speak at the same time. But like I said, most brothers and sisters all know I speak their information, I speak all fast. But for me, I have to speak faster in English and also to sign the ASL at the same time, make sure that I don't lose any type of information. Don't know. So being a deaf person, becoming the first on that statement is very a blessing, very honor. So they love it because they want to be exposed. They want to know what the deaf group can offer to the Phi Beta Stigma. Not only Phi Beta Stigma, to every dependency story who on the string, because like I said, they really fascinated with ASL because they want to open the door for the deaf group to have the opportunity. Because like I said, I would have got a little Lombard and Getter don't have black group at all. And I'm not feeling it myself. So to take the opportunity to join the Phi Beta Stigma, that give me a platform to open the door for the next person who want to become the next Phi Beta Stigma, or AKA Alpha, Omega, Data. The line go down to open the door. But like I said, you got too many deaf alpha, you got too many deaf delta, you got too many deaf data, deaf stigma, kappa. We open door for the opportunity of the ASL community access. But that's very important, especially these generations today, because most of the black that in this generation very, very, very curiosity about this. We're trying to show it, but like I said, some of you guys were in that institution don't know nothing about it. Fortunately, that I was in the mainstream, and I know all the divine lines through my high school, and I was used on the step change, and just that's in my blood. So for my generation to generation, my family won Delta. So again, it's in the blood. So having that ASL, that changed the game for the future for the generation.
All right, so our next question is, what has been your experience engaging with both the deaf community and the Divine Nine organizations? And how have these experiences shaped your perspective on accessibility and inclusion within the Black Greek life?
Hey, you want to go ahead and start first?
Hello again, everyone. I am Tiara. For my experience with both the deaf community, interpreting for the deaf community, and the D9 community, I've said the experience has been positive. But my goal now is to get both organizations, both groups, communities to join and come together. Honestly, I know a lot of people in the deaf interpreting community that you even see here. Some are members, even members of our audiences are D9, and they also have the same goal. I tell my sorors, I'm like, hey, you want to come with me tonight? You want to, you know, work with these? And they're like, right, okay, cool. And so now my goal is to combine both worlds, but honestly, it's becoming a team of one. And so it's a little overwhelming, but a lot of sorors have been very open-minded. Some have been able to pick up ASL, and I've told them, how to make events easily accessible, making sure you have the right captioning, all of the advertisement should be, shown of inviting of everyone, make sure you have an interpreter. Like for this event, we have interpreters, we have captioners to make sure that everything is easily accessible. But this is only the beginning. We have to provide accessibility, but also we need to become more welcoming to the deaf community as well, just letting them know what events are happening or making sure it's on the flyer. You have for example, the interpreting logo to say that, oh, okay, like Fashad mentioned, all of his brothers, they sign. And that is an amazing experience for them to be able to pick up sign. Why not? We can do that. And then also they explained that your sorors, your members, your anniversaries. I know Christy mentioned that before about going to her Deltaversary, and she was able to sign in the group. And I thought that was really cool. Wow, that was an experience to have, right? And so my goal now is to pull in both worlds so that we understand that we're all one D9, but especially with AKA to have more accessibility.
So I completely agree with you, Tiara, about the experience that I've had. But my fraternity is a little bit different. We don't have a high population of deaf people. I've been looking high and low, but I can't find any. But one positive thing is that we are bringing those worlds together and we're working together. And so the deaf community and the interpreting community as well.
Okay, so our fourth question is, what steps can D9 organizations take to be more inclusive and accessible to deaf and hard of hearing members and potential new members?
This is Christy. I guess I will start. So within my sorority, I remember maybe about 10 or 15 years ago that we had the national conference. And one of the organizers texted me and was like, hey, I need help. And I was like, okay. There were 2 deaf members who showed up to the national conference, and there was no accommodations provided. And one of them, she was a chapter president of the community in New York. And so she was looking for the accommodations. And so they contacted me. And so they were asking me, what do I need to do? And so I explained thoroughly. And from then on, they will contact those who are members of Delta Sigma Theta and ask for advice on how to become deaf smart and then also deaf friendly. And so, with much explanation, true enough, they took it seriously and they made it more like a part of their, structure, meaning at every national conference and regional conference, they must have interpreters available. Any video or any information coming from DST must have captions automatically. Doesn't matter who changes in leadership, it is continuous. And that is the structure of what it is today, what it is now. And so I believe that we have to have the deaf members to be more motivated to be involved. And so my answer to the question is that it should be different levels on the national level, the regional level, alumni chapters, undergraduate chapters. It should be all across the board. Now, at the national level, it's understood. It's a conference, for example, on the badge. If you're deaf, there's some type of logo or insignia that shows, hello, I am deaf. And for those who are ASL interpreters, it is also on the badge. So it's easy to find an interpreter. At virtual conferences, because now that is an option as well, on the registration form, it asks, are you deaf? Do you need any accommodations? What kind of accommodations do you need? And then if you do need an interpreter, they have something where you're able to set up your workshop schedule for an interpreter, because the interpreter can't be at every workshop. You're going to have to pick and choose and then inform the coordinator of when that interpreter is supposed to show up. Same process regionally. Now, undergraduate level, the undergraduate chapters, it varies because it depends on the university of how they control the accommodation. At Spelman, they do that because when I was there, they made sure that all of their interpreters were Black women. And so I was ready. I was ready to take on the challenge. The interview, the informational process, rush. The department office, they always had an interpreter ready. But when we were online, that was a different story. Okay. So my situation, my line was long. We were the longest line of all of lines of my chapter. And so what I had to do was, there was one person who was my high school friend, and she knew how to communicate with me. And then there was another individual who was still learning sign language, and she was more of like a, interpreter role. I mean, she wasn't exactly as professional as an interpreter, but you make do with what you have. And so my back and my front, I had to make sure that I knew, what was up, what was being said, what message was passed, to make sure that I got the information. Because remember, during that time, there was no Facebook, there was no texting. It was just by word of mouth. And so they would come to me and have to explain what was going on. And so the big sisters had to make some adjustments. For example, they would say, we don't need to put anything important or secretive down on paper. Like, because remind you, the songs, the rituals, they have to be written down, because I can't really tell a person how I'm supposed to hear or memorize a song. I have to see the words. Not only that, when I'm reading the words, I have to know them. I have to know the rhythm, the beat, because during performance, it's not just saying the words, it's also making sure that you are in line, you're in sync with your line. And so each line had to make it work for the chapter as a whole. Again, alumni chapters, it's varied on the exposure and the situation. But for my situation, I've been involved with 3 alumni chapters. And so that was after I moved back to Atlanta. So I graduated from Spelman, and then I attended Gallaudet, and then I went to Howard. During that time, it was fine because everybody was signing, they were sorors. But then when I moved back to Atlanta, it was a little sticky. So when I showed up to the first 2 meetings, I think it was the early 2000s, technology was not available yet. And so when I showed up, there was just a room full of women. I did not know what to do. I did not know how to communicate. And the 3rd meeting, it happened around 2020, February of 2020. During that time, they had the live stream. And they had the live transcribe app that you could use on your phone. And so it would hear and pick up what was being said, translate it, and put it into captions. But the captions were not perfect. They were automatic captions, but it was better than nothing. And so I felt motivated to join. And some others who were members of my Spelman chapter, they were more motivated to join. And then when March happened, of course, COVID happened. And they stopped doing meetings. And even though I continue to be a financial member, I just really didn't attend meetings. But I was aware that if I wanted to go, I could go. I was aware that I had the app, but at the same time, I knew that if I was to kind of at some point mention it, they would have to include an interpreter or something. And so that's my story. Thank you. Thank you, Crystal, for sharing that. I agree with you. What's really important is to own, educate, and provide workshops. So we'll know how to work with the deaf and hard of hearing who are included in your organizations. In recruiting, if you want more deaf and hard of hearing individuals to be involved, don't be scared. Communicate it with us. Even if you don't understand sign, you can always write information down. Don't expect everyone who is deaf and hard of hearing to read lips, because we can't. And not all deaf and hard of hearing people want to use their voice, or they might not want to use their deaf voice. It is okay. Don't be afraid. Don't walk away. Don't be avoidant. Just understand. And so I would like to say it's important for me to be able to be my authentic self. It's important for me to advocate for myself. I'm always the person to have my own back. And so I'm expecting people to advocate for me, but then again, not really. It's important to believe in yourself and not be afraid. Do whatever you want. It's all about what you set up into your mind. Don't give up. Don't give up. It's not an option to give up. You think people can come up to me and ask how I became a Zeta and how I'm supposed to do things for myself? It's really self-advocating and realizing that, yes, I have a disability. No matter if you see it or not, I'm not perfect. It is okay. And so why not open the opportunity for all people? Why do we allow anxiety or depression to stop us? What are we trying to accomplish? And so that way we can have a different perspective to understand inclusion and how to accommodate. It's important for everyone, no matter the need. And so just today, I always ask myself, why do I have to educate people? It's 2025. It's not the year of 1968. I mean, we should already know it should be expected of how to work with deaf and hard of hearing people. We're not in the old times. I would just hope that we will kind of improve and do better. Just learn basic signs, write notes back and forth, gesture, communicate with other deaf and hard of hearing individuals who know sign. And remember, I just know my line sisters were very, very supportive of me with certain words I couldn't say. And I just remember the fun times that we had together. You know, some words that I couldn't say, honestly, I'd be like, I can't say them words. Don't hold it against me if I can't speak or say it right. And they be like, Tempest, I understand, girl. But we have to think about closed captioning, interpreters, educate, provide workshops, be very inclusive during the recruitment process, be visual, be out there, so that deaf and hard of hearing members are able to join an organization. I think it should be more accessibility. It could be important to provide communication as well. And Christy said, I think I wanted to add something. No, I agree with you and what you said, but also all of the Divine Nine organizations have to keep in mind, we're not just serving you. For those who don't know what to do. Okay, so you have all 9 organizations who have lifelong memberships, right? But many of them, the older they become, they start to lose their hearing. So what are you gonna do? Are you prepared to know how to include those individuals who have just recently lost their hearing? Are you gonna provide accessibility for them? Or are they just gonna continue to be in isolation? I mean, that's what I mean. It's serving anyone. You have to be deaf smart, deaf friendly, deaf inclusive, because you never know. It could impact you and you could become deaf. So what are you going to do? So we have to keep that in mind. And this is Tempest. One thing I want to add to encourage people to learn the ADA laws as well. You know, how to work and apply for people who have disabilities. Make it inclusive for them as well. And I just encourage you to do your homework and your research for yourself. And this is Christy. I think we just feeding each other. Okay, girl. Okay. So also being involved, having interpreters. Not all organizations have the same kind of experience as it relates to what to do with deaf and hard of hearing individuals or current deaf members. But I've witnessed situations. I mean, I can give you the perfect example. One fraternity, I don't believe they have experience of having a deaf member thus far, okay? But there is one person who is deaf and they're interested. They show up to their informal meeting. Now, this is in Atlanta. The interpreter is a Black woman. So imagine a man going into a space and seeing a Black woman interpreter. Oh, and then being deaf, and then it becomes awkward. And it doesn't have to be. But there was no, networking within the Nine to be able to coordinate that. Now in Atlanta, we didn't realize it until that situation occurred. And so we don't have a lot of Black male interpreters. Yeah, we do have one. We have one who is interested in helping, but it's a problem. He is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And so he didn't want to interpret for another organization. It was just a sticky situation all around. And so that kind of situation, I mean, we really need to, of course, it was an awkward situation all around, but understand how it's supposed to be.
Okay, thank you guys for your lovely answers. It was really engaging. So we now have time for a Q&A. Some things to remember, one question per person to allow everyone a chance. State the panelist's name if directing a specific question. And then ask your question by raising your hand or typing it in the chat.
Right.
Mm-mm.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, well, yes, that's correct.
Okay, so does anybody have a question?
Yes.
I have a question. My question to the audience, what y'all learn from us tonight? That's the question. Again?
What was the question? This is Christy. I missed it.
Yeah. I had a question for the audience. What y'all learn from us tonight? Go on the panel.
Hi, this is Lauren.
Hey, Lauren, if you have a question, can you unmute yourself or and if you can, like, turn off your camera, please?
Hi, I'm at Gallaudet right now, and there was an echo in the room. But hi, I'm Lindsay Simmons, and what I learned from you all tonight is that inclusion is a necessity in all these different organizations, and members need to work towards making it more inclusive for deaf individuals. But thank you all so much. This was so much fun. Shout out Jemiah. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, everyone. We have a lot of questions in the chat. I think these are great questions. I would love if y'all could come off mute, raise your hands, and ask your questions so they don't get lost. And we can have, for each question, let's just have one panelist answer the question.
Hello, this is Melody, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Macomb Alumni Chapter in Michigan. So I put in the chat a question. I actually learned basic sign language as a child when my mother's best friend's daughter was deaf. So I had to kind of learn how to communicate with her. But I didn't, because it's one of those things, if you don't use it, you lose it. So I only know just the basics. And so my question in the chat was any suggestions you may have for those of us who have some bit of ASL experience, but need to or want to further it so we can be able to communicate better with our fellow SORs and bros.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I see there's a few things that I kind of wanted to discuss while we're here. Firstly, I really think that we need more opportunities, for D9 organizations to come together with the deaf community. If we had more opportunities, then I think with time, we would give people time for to understand how important accessibility is to provide. So I could do that. I'm not exactly sure. Um, right now we don't have a lot of exposure to my organization, but we will. And so I know that Christy mentioned earlier, um, my fraternity, we just don't have, you know, any a lot of male interpreters, who are here, but I'm here. I wanted to make a difference, um, for all the men who are interested in becoming members of this fraternity. But it's a difficult situation because I live in the DMV area, and that person lives in Atlanta. So it's pretty far, from me. So, and I'm not able to go to Atlanta to interpret for the interested party. So it's a difficult situation. But I'm hoping that, the more deaf men become interested in fraternity life, mine, Alpha, Phi Alpha, Sigmas, Omegas, all of them, I just, I want them to go out. I want them to run for office. I want people to do the research, and get the ball rolling. I'm really happy to see Spelman College has an ASL club. I'm super excited about that, and I hope that, you guys continue doing this important work for all Black people. You want us all to learn more about ASL? Accessibility is so important. I work for the National Institute of Health, and we are constantly doing, advocating how important accessibility is. I'm trying to travel as much as I can to help, my brothers learn about accessibility, but we just don't have any deaf members at this point. So that's what I wanted to say. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for your response. Just as a follow-up, and I'm going to let this be my second part of the question. Would it be of interest to any of the organizations to maybe include it as part of our programming within the chapters? And then, we go to gather socially, we go to learn different things, and we go to learn how to quilt and do all these other fun things together. But would it be of interest to maybe do something different and say, hey, we got someone who can maybe for 6 weeks teach us American Sign Language?
This is Christy. This is Christy having her hand raised. 1 minute, please. Hello, Millie. That was a good question. Yes, I think it's a wonderful idea. Ask your deaf members, or really any deaf person in your local community to teach ASL with pay, though. So to answer your question, how to maybe understand to go beyond the basics of ASL, maybe socialize with the deaf community, but really start with Facebook, Instagram. Why? Because every state, every city, I'm assuming, has a Facebook group that is focused towards deaf events, the deaf community. For example, we have a Facebook page called Deaf Atlanta. And so people who want to find anything related to deaf culture, deaf events, or have a question of where could I find the deaf community, they typically find the post on our Facebook page, Deaf Atlanta. Now, for those who have been taking ASL classes and they just need that community exposure and they are a member of the Divine Nine, we have a private Facebook group and it's Signing Divine Nine. That's the name of the page. And we can answer, if there's any question that fits the criteria, we can answer and go from there. And so the really short answer to your question is socialize with deaf individuals and deaf people.
Thank you. Thank you, Sora.
All right. Our next question is gonna Marquise, do you have something? A question? Your hand is raised.
So I'm seeing we have a lot of questions come in and we have some comments. I have really, I got a question for you guys, all the people here. I know some people from Gallaudet and everybody's from Divine Nine. But my question is, why do you think other people of color, specifically Black people, join white organizations? You know, with the history that's, how everything has went down, why do you think they decide to, join these temporary organizations instead of waiting and joining a Divine Nine organization? Uh, think that people who have the patience and work for it, maybe, do they not want to work for it, or do they not want to, do they just want to do something that's easy and go with what's readily available to them? I see Fashad had a hand up, Aaron had a hand up, Byron had a hand up.
I will answer to Marty that question. That's true because, like I said, I went to Gallaudet for 4 years, and to my experience with those people of color who don't want a white death fraternity, the source is because, like I said, go back. Um, most of those people of color who graduated from a deaf institute that had not educated about the Black death, about the Black fraternity sorority history, not brother or sister who came to the deaf institution because it's just so beneficial for them to fit with their program for the teaching from the ground compared with the people who graduated from a mainstream from kindergarten who had understanding the concept or the family members who were in Divine Nine of the organization. So during my time, I talked with some of the people of color on the Gallaudet campus, and they were there. They had no understanding about Divine Nine. Only thing they know that Divine Nine is how it works. Not other colleges like Bowie State, Spelman College, Morehouse. None other HBCU had Divine Nine on each campus. All their mind was set was how it university. We didn't know that how university down the street from Gallaudet. We have the same mascot, fighting and bicycle. So it's just challenge for a person like me to educate them about the history and all that. Because again, they living inside of the can with crab and pinking each other because there's no type of analysis to expose it. So that's why I go ahead and set up Death Divine Nine to open the door for the people who are already a member of Divine Nine from day one, to expose them, to educate them, to show them the history and all that. And also post a video of them who wear the shirt to be proud of part of Divine Nine, be proud of a fact of story, especially stuff with deaf and hard of hearing, because a person who is stuff with deaf and hard of hearing, it's not easy going through the process when you deal with the hearing people, because that can give a heart for the believe where you are open up for love and pass on to the next generation who is very interested in doing Divine Nine or the financial shortages, especially on Gallaudet campus. But again, deal with Gallaudet whole situation there is very sensitive because for my experience to my senior year, I tried to get a chapter there. At my senior year, oh my God, they were saying that, oh, you gotta go through this department, you gotta go through this other case, you gotta go through all that. You must have King Brothers to keep committee. You must have King Brothers to keep the financial, blah, blah, blah. It's A and D. It's not, you gotta go through every single strand for my senior year. So they were saying that why not stay here other year? I'm not gonna stay here other year. To be honest with you. I'm saying 4 years, I'm out of here. But again, how did the guy that's instructional stuff then that hey, you gotta go through all that in order to set up a chapter there to educate them for the people of color who was very interested. But now, I mean, from my understanding, am I right or wrong? They had a local Black fraternity store on Gallaudet campus. It's called Capitated Theater. I don't know the name of it, but I've been hearing about it. But again, they don't have Divine Nine. It's because, again, they were saying they must have had the type of a person who was there on campus to run the charter shaft and all that, go through all this process. So again, it's not so easy to go overnight. It takes time, it takes year after year after year. You make sure the finance, you make sure the GPA. It's not boom, boom, boom. You gotta go through the headquarters. Boom, boom, boom. You make sure they're approved, not in a it's all across the board with the local president, the region president, state, and the national. It's A and D, so it's not easy to just set up on campus, especially on a deaf campus, because again, from the groundbreaking, most deaf audience who from the deaf institute don't understand the type of Divine Nine compared with people who graduate from the mainstream. That's the fact.
Okay, yeah, Marcus Keith, I really appreciate your answer, and thank you guys for the question. Excuse me. Uh, well, unfortunately, what I see when it comes to Black men who, let's say, they have friends or peers, uh, they have a tendency to feel oppressed because they don't see any other Divine Nine members on their campus or in their general community. They don't have awareness, they don't have understanding of, what's going on. And so maybe they have family members who understand, or maybe they don't understand. But unfortunately, when you don't have that campus representation, when there's no, Black fraternities and sororities on your campus, then as a Black man, where do you find that companionship? You don't have other people, only organizations who you have encouraging you to join are the white ones. And so those friends, those you're joining for friends, but not for the fraternity itself. And so after they cross, then they realize, they have all these regrets about why they joined the white fraternity because they're not there for service. They're not doing anything for the community. Their ambitions, their goals, their aspirations are to do what? To party, to hang out. And so as a deaf person, you also want to feel included as, into deaf in your deaf culture as well. So I know for myself as a Divine Nine member, I do what I can to encourage people and to reach out to other people so that they feel like they are part of it. Feels like a part of my responsibility to expose other Black deaf men, even hearing guys, that we're here so they can see what the options are, especially Black deaf men. Um, it's a tough life, especially when they don't understand that there are Black deaf fraternities out there that, there's this feeling that you're alone and they feel like you just mentioned, someone just mentioned just recently in this chat that there's some apprehension and people don't feel like they're capable of it. They see a bunch of hearing people, they have this inferiority complex, and then they think, okay, well, maybe it's just easier to do this without realizing that once they cross, then, that's when the reality comes to light. I know that Gallaudet University has a fraternity with 10 Black line brothers who have crossed. And then I think after 6 years, the thing just blew up because the standards for Gallaudet's policy that you have to have a minimum number of people in your organization in order for it to be sustainable. And I'm really disappointed with that, to be completely honest with you. Um, I have one brother who was the founder of the organization, and he worked so hard securing advisors and doing all that work to create this organization. And then it's not fair for the Black deaf community that they just sort of got rid of it that way. In the Divine Nine, we have the same thing where we've got brothers and sisters out here, you know, and the chapters are being destroyed because of underrepresentation. So I just actually, was that last year? Yes, it was last year. I just found out that they've got a Black deaf sorority that um, I think it was Alpha. I can't remember what the name of it is. It's brand new. They've got two, maybe three members, and I had no idea that it was even a thing, but I'm so proud of them for actually going through with it and creating it. But right now, they don't have enough members. They don't have enough representation. And, as a member of a Black Greek organization, I'm so proud of them. I'm encouraging them. Their mission is to serve the deaf community. Their mission is to serve, but they just don't have enough right now to offer, on campus because the numbers are so small, so low. And I just really feel like I'm just, I don't know, a little bit disappointed that not more Black deaf men aren't joining fraternities. I mean, I feel like as a member of a Black Greek fraternity, I am providing that awareness. I have the understanding, we have the knowledge, and our fraternity has 10, Betas have 3, uh, Delta's got a total of 26 deaf. And so the numbers are growing, but we need more than that. We need you guys to be in the community and explaining to people so that they can have a better understanding of how important this is. And we, as Divine Nine members, need to take on the responsibility of ourselves to represent for our community so that people, when we go out and we're wearing the paraphernalia, they can see that this is this, they can ask questions. We can answer those questions and help them learn what we're about, help them, give them resources to look on the internet to find. explain to them that we have accessible services, we provide interpreters, we have captioning. And that for me, and then we can sort of warn them against joining those majority white fraternities because we know the risks. And so I we we have to be able to establish some policies and some rules about that. But just even just bringing awareness by representation, by wearing what we're wearing, allows people access to start to do the research and wonder, do they provide interpreters? Do they provide accessible services? So that they know that, here I am as a Black deaf man, there's nothing that I can't do. You know what I mean? I don't want people to feel like they're being oppressed by their friends. I don't want people to feel like, I want them to have more exposure. That's what we need to do. We need to get the word out. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all for that. We have two more questions. For our questions, can we please keep them brief and direct them to one panelist because we are running out of time? And then for our panelists that are going to answer the questions, can we please be brief as well? So, Byron, hopefully I say your name correctly. Can you answer your question, please?
Hello. I'm so excited to see all these Black, deaf, and people and hearing interpreters and people who know sign language here on the panel. I'm going to try my best to be brief here. I know that time is really limited, but I was going to ask, since we all are aware, that there's, I mean, of course, there's Black, white men, but there's a lot of Black men who have no awareness of sign language. They don't know anything about interpreting. I mean, for women, the numbers are slowly picking up, but I'm kind of curious. Um, I'm actually wondering what you guys, the panelists, has been your experience as far as programming in college, maybe, or just in the world in general. When you go to conferences, um, what do you think we need more of uh, in the hearing community as far as accommodations they can provide to deaf people that are interested in learning about the Divine Nine? Like, for people who want to know more, how can we raise awareness more? And, anyone can answer if there's somebody who wants to, and I know we have limited time right now. All right, this is Chris. I'm going to make my answer brief. So I think that we'll have more deaf people um, at the events. We have, all the time. For example, in the DMV area right now, we've got in the East Province area, we have a meeting that is completely open to the public and anybody can come. So if deaf people, want to join our organizations, they can show up at events. We've got a website, we've got Instagram, we've got a Facebook page, we've got all the socials. So if people are interested in our organization, they can show up at the events. That's kind of all I wanted to say.
Tempest has her hand
Brian
raised.
says, thank you.
This is Tempest.
Hi. We're going to move on just for the sake of time. So, Neela, you can ask the next question, the last question.
Thank you so much. This has been such an amazing opportunity, and I've learned so much. My question is for Sora Cooper. I just wanted to ask you your personal Zeta journey and why you chose Zeta. And I also wanted to know, we've talked a lot about what our organizations can do better internally in terms of, accessibility, interpreters and such. But I wanted to know, is there anything that, as organizations that pride themselves on inclusion and service, what are some, outside things we can do, organizations we can support to make sure that our organizations are supporting deaf and hard of hearing people?
Okay. So I'm the vice president of Black Deaf Advocates. And so I just wanted to say you can connect with your national Black Deaf sponsors as well, like if they are interested in joining. But the reason why I joined Zeta, just for clarification, I'm just trying to understand. Okay. And so I really liked the policies. It had scholarships, service, sisterhood, and finer womanhood. And so the principles behind it was, very, I mean, I know me, I love community service anyway. And so I was always looking for a way to change my community. And so I would always volunteer myself, go out into the community. But our principles talk about service, and most of the D9 has service in their principles. And so networking is important. And so it's really going out into the community. You never know who's watching and who's listening. And there are a few deaf people who already contact me through DM. And I'm willing to offer, a letter of recommendation if needed. Unless you're showing that you're serious and you're doing the work, and making people feel included and welcome. Don't judge a deaf and hard of hearing individual. Get to know who they are as the person, learn their background, ask questions, and, you know, sororities who have interpreters. There's a lot of sororities who have interpreters. Use them not only for just of the deaf and the hard of hearing access, use them for networking. It's important, Thank you for asking that question.
All right, perfect. Thank you, everyone. That was great. So we are going to go for, did my screen share? Oh, sorry, y'all. My screen did not share. Um, we are going to go forward with the rest of our presentation. So first, we would like for the interpreters, especially since some of them are part of the Divine Nine organizations, to just introduce themselves a little bit so you can see who they are and what they do.
I guess I will go first. My name is Holly Jackson. Excuse me. I'm managing or getting over a cold recently, but I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I joined in 2000, Sigma chapter, Clark Atlanta University, and I'm a sign language interpreter. I live in Atlanta. Thank you.
Hello, hello, what's up, what's up? Hello, everyone, what's up, what's up? I'm sorry, I'm Amber Robinson. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. I crossed spring of 2018, New Theta of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And I am a sign language interpreter.
My name is Renee, and I am from,
Hold on, Renee, you're not spotlighted. Where are you? I think, is your video on?
yeah, everything is on.
Oh,
I'm not muted.
oh.
I see myself, the screen is large. I crossed in the fall of, I'm sorry, the spring of 1986. Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. And I signed, but I'm a life coach. Yucky.
Hi, I'm Eli. I'm a sign language interpreter. I'm not in any Divine Nine organization, but I'm an interpreter. I'm proud to be here with you guys.
Hey, perfect. Thank you guys. So, first, we want to say thank you to all of our panelists and all of our interpreters. Without this event, without y'all, this event could not have happened. So, thank you everyone for coming and participating. So the Spelman ASL Club, we have a lot of things going on. We have a lot of things planned, and we would love for y'all to join us. So our first update is our e-board. Two of our e-board members, our co-presidents, and two club members, and our treasurer are at Gallaudet right now. They are touring the campus. They are learning. They're doing a lot of good things out there. Thanks to our advisor, Miss Tyler. And they're all currently there right now watching the Zoom. I don't know if they can come on camera and just wave and say, hey, but they're there, they're having a great time. But you can also follow their journey, their experiences, all the good stuff on our Instagram page. So they're doing a story takeover and they're going to document their whole experience. So if y'all want to see that, y'all can go check that out on our Instagram page. Tomorrow, we are going to have a table at the RSO Fair. So if you are in Atlanta, close to Spelman's campus, and you would like to stop by and come visit us, please do. We are trying to join the club and also connect with the deaf community outside of kind of what we have at Spelman. So if y'all could come join us if you have time, but that's perfectly fine if you don't, because next week, April 4th, we are having our sign and paint, but spots are limited. So you have to register using the link in our bio. And that will be next week at 6 p.m. in Atlanta on Spelman's campus. And then for all of our Spelman students, if you are interested in joining our e-board, keep doing this great work, working with us, elections and stuff is going to come up very soon. So start thinking about that. And we're going to release more information in early April. And then lastly, for everybody, if y'all could follow our Instagram at Spelman ASL Club to stay updated on the events and opportunities. We do plan on having plenty more events coming up. So we would love to invite people from the deaf community, from the Atlanta community, just to come learn as well. And also when we have Zoom events, we would love to send them to you guys so y'all can attend if you're not in Atlanta. Do we have any questions? Any last minute? Okay, perfect. Oh, yes, I see a hand raised. Q.
Okay. Good evening. I was trying to turn my camera on, but I can't, it's not allowing me to do that. So my question is, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for this collaboration, this gathering of brother and sisterhood of the Greeks, and this platform. So my question is, this is so My cup overfloweth. And I'd like to know if we're going to do this again.
Well, we are hoping to do this again. Unfortunately, I am graduating. Well, fortunately, I am graduating in May. So definitely with the next e-board, I plan on passing this idea down to them and kind of expanding on a little bit, even if we have an in-person option or we find something where we can bring more D9 Greeks and collaborate with more chapters, do different things. I definitely would want to see that happen in the future. One of our co-presidents, Leah, she is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and she will be here next year. So we may be able to pass the baton and keep this event going, but we will keep you updated. Definitely would want to do something more. And if y'all have any ideas, if your chapters have any ideas, something that y'all would want to do, please send them to us. Y'all can send them to our Instagram, or you can send us an email, and I'll put the email in the chat. So if y'all want to collaborate or work on anything together, we are so open to doing that as well. That was a great question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and a lot of planning went into this. A lot of planning. We have been working on this for a while. And I'm so glad to see this. I feel like this is my baby because it really did come to life. And this was really great. It's such a great experience, especially for me, just being able to host something like this. I think it's amazing. So thank you everyone for attending. And that will kind of close us out. So we ask that you do check in. It's a short Google form, not anything long, but we ask that you do check in just so we can have your information in case we have anything going forward and we might want to send you something or just stay in contact with y'all. But please check in. And other than that, we are done.
Jemiah,
Yes.
Jemiah, I want to say something.
Yes.
So this is Weta Tyler. I'm the one of the instructors at Spelman. I just want to commend Jemiah and Tamar, and I'm just so proud of how well you all have done with this. This has really been a huge meeting, a whole lot more participants than you all expected, and you all have just handled it so well. I just want to say that the e-board of our Spelman ASL club, they are awesome young women, and it's the easiest thing I've never done before because I've never been a club advisor. And this is just so awesome. I'm just so proud of you young ladies. And I just wanted to make a suggestion. Maybe if some of the fraternities and sororities who have deaf members, if maybe they could represent like at the different deaf events, ASL Expo deaf event, and they have, maybe have a table out there, and then that way the word can kind of get out more that there are deaf members of the Divine Nine. I'm not a member of any of them, but I just thought about that, like the ASL Deaf Expo and any other deaf events, just have sororities and fraternities to have a table and just let people know, let the deaf community know. So, but anyway, really proud of you, girl, Jemiah. You did an awesome job. We'll see you back soon. We're out here at Gallaudet having a great time. So thank you all. Appreciate you.
Yes, thank you all. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your night. And please do the check-in form if you have not.
Thank you.